For each one of these, we're just looking for the percent change from the first number to the second number. So I'll probably think about these in terms of like stocks, like we have been. So if something stock is worth $10 at the beginning of, say, the beginning of the week, and then $20 at the end of the week, that's a pretty big jump for a stock that costs $10. But that's what we'll think about here. How do we figure out the percent change? We're going to plug stuff into a formula that has a new and an old number. So how do I know which one's which? The first one is the old number. We can think of that as the original price, and then the second one is the new one. All right, so this arrow is indicating that it goes from $10 to $20, so the 20 is going to be the new price. All right, so we need to plug this stuff into that formula then. Charles, can you help me out with that? All right, so it's going to be the new number minus the old number divided by the old number, right? Which is what, Charles? 10. And then times 100%. All right, so again, the top of the fraction here just tells us how much money we made for each share. So we do 20 minus 10. That gives us a positive 10. Tells us the price went up by $10. And then we want to change that into a percent based on the original amount. And what do we end up with here?
100%.
Yeah, we get 100%, right? So we get 100 for our answer. What we get here is 10 divided by 10, which is 1, and then 1 times 100 is 100. It is a percent. That's why we multiplied by 100% here. And it went up by 100%, so we need what? We need a plus in front. You should always have a plus or a minus to show that it's an increase or a decrease. How about this one? We have the same numbers, but it's flipped. So we start at $20 and it goes down to $10. Drake, can you help me with this one?
10 minus 20. Or percent change.
All right, percent change equals 10 minus 20 divided by 20 times 100%. All right, and we punch that into the calculator and we get what, Drake? Negative 50%. So we've seen this happen before, but I just want to point it out again. Number 1 and number 2 have the exact same numbers in it. They're just switched. So the first one we go from $10 to $20, and that's a 100% increase. The second one we go from $20 to $10, and that's a 50% decrease. So why is it that when the numbers are the same, we get different percent changes? Even though the top numbers are the same, they're just flipped. So instead of 20 minus 10 in the first one, we had 10 minus 20 in the second one. The number we're dividing by is different because we're starting with a different amount. The percent change depends on what the starting amount was. All right, that's what we're finding the percent of. So since we started with $10 the first time, we started with a smaller amount, the percent change is going to be bigger than when we start with a bigger amount. How about this one? We're going from $7 a share to $8 a share. So if I had $100 worth of this stock at the beginning with $7, how much is it going to be worth at the end? Or how much are we going to gain here? Tyler, can you set this one up for me? Okay, so percent change equals?
8 minus 7.
Okay.
7.
Yep. All right, so we have the new number minus the old number divided by the old number times 100%. And what is the decimal? It's going to give us a big long decimal, right? What do we get for that, Tyler?
Get 14.2857.
I think another 1 there, right? Okay. This is one of those decimals that it's going to start repeating. It actually repeats starting with a 1. It's going to go back to 4 and then 2, 8, 5, 7, 1, 4, and so on. But we want to round this. It says in the directions here, if necessary, this is the first time it's necessary, we want to round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So where is the tenths place? Taylor, can you help me with the rounding part here? Which number in this problem is in the tenths place? The 2? All right, so if the 2 is in the 10th place, that's what we're rounding, so we're going to cross everything off after that. And is that 2 going to stay a 2, or is it really closer to a 3? How do I know that, Taylor? Yeah, the 8 after it is 5 or more, so that's going to bump that 2 up to a 3. So we get 14.3. And then what 2 things am I missing besides the rounding part there?
Plus
Yep.
sign and percent.
And the percent, good. So this is an increase of 14.3%, so we need that plus sign and we need the percent symbol. Next one, we have stock that's worth $700 per share. It's a pretty expensive stock, but then it goes up to $800 a share. Carl, you want to help me with this one?
Now I'm gonna add question.
All right, percent change equals.
800 minus 100 minus 700. Divided by 700 times 100%.
And what do we get for this one, Amaze?
14.28.
That looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? Does that look familiar to you guys?
Yeah.
It's the same thing we got on the last one, right? Why did we get the same answer? We know how to round this, right? It's a plus 14.3% change. Why did we get the same answer even though these numbers are really different? Well, not really different, but I mean, $7 is pretty different than $700, right? And $8 is pretty different from $800. So why do we get the same percent change? Taylor? Yeah, we just put 2 zeros on the end of the 7 and 2 zeros on the end of the 8. So really what we're dealing with, instead of 7 $1 bills changing to 7 $8 bills, now we have 7 $100 bills changing to 8 $100 bills. So it's going up by the same percentage relative to what it started at. All right, so even though we put those zeros on the end and multiplied these by 100, it's still the percent change. So for every $100, it's changing by the same amount. All right, one more. Starting at $7, which we did in problem number 3, but this time we're going up to $14. Who wants to help me with this one? Olivia, you look like you want to help.
Percent change equals 14 minus 7 minus 7 times 100.
All right, and what do you get for that, Olivia? Yep. So this is a plus 100% change. So we saw this answer earlier, right? When we went from $10 to $20. So what's the same about this problem? We went from $10 to $20 and had a 100% increase, just like when we go from $7 to $10, or I'm sorry, 10 to. Let me start that over. When we went from $10 to $20, it was a 100% increase, and when we went from $7 to $14, it was a 100% increase. So what is it about these numbers here that tells me it's a 100% increase? Okay. Since we're doubling our money here, we're going from $10 to $20, we're increasing by the same amount that we started with. So if we start at 10 and we add $10 on, the same thing that we started with, which is 100%, then we get to 20. If we start at 7 and add another 7, we're adding 100% of that $7 and we get to $14. So anytime you double your money, you're increasing your money by 100%.